Hey there, Coach Patrick here. Destination this weekend, Nice World Championships. The hardest races out there. People said, don't leave Kona. We don't want to leave Kona behind. Kona is so hard, it's so beautiful. And they went back to Nice. Turned back the clock, went to a place where Mark Allen, Dave Scott, and many other legends used to drag race themselves. Not quite doing the full Ironman distance, but really crushing themselves. And lo and behold, it's the real deal. So I just wanted to give some context for the race, for those of you on the team who are heading in, and so you know. So it's definitely big time energy, but big time Euro energy, which means lots of things to do during the week, lots of places to explore, etc. And it's a vacation, so you want to have fun. Definitely, one thing worth doing leading up to the event is spend some time at the expo and get a little of that nutrition game going. Because it's pretty wild to taste the food there, especially the exercise food, and to be like, this stuff is different than what we have in the States. And it's worth for you just kind of knowing what's going to be on the course and what it's going to be like for you. I'm not worried about the swim at all. The swim is going to be what swim is going to be. The bike is where this race unfolds. And what's interesting about the bike is that forget about the elevation and the terrain and the tough descents and technical work, right? The big thing is that mentally, if a race was a unit of time that you took to get to the championships, the bike leg here is worth 1.25 of that value. So technically you're 6.5, 7 miles into the run from your energy where you are on the bike. It just takes that long. So as you plan on executing the day, here's a couple of things for you. Number one, you have to know what your caps are for your heart rate and your power. So you can ride hard on the course because there are plenty of periods where your power will drop and your variability will be much higher. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about when you ride hard enough that you start to exceed your target numbers, which you've developed through your benchmark testing, to the point where you're unable to recover from them. And I'm not so much worried about the bike because there's enough time to recover from climb to climb on the bike, but there isn't enough time to recover from all of that work on the bike, on the run when you're heading into the finish line. So we have to be really smart, know your numbers, mark the caps. Number two, you have to get comfortable in drinking and eating on the uphills because you are not going to be comfortable eating and drinking on the downhills. It's just too technical and you're going to be a little freaked out. And so you definitely have to get really good at eating stochastically, as in eating on, eating off, as determined by the terrain and your time over said terrain, and not what your watch says and what your perfectly ideal timing is. Okay? That's going to be tough. You have to just set expectations that you're going to be in transition for the run a lot later than you really have wanted to. Doesn't mean you can't have a great race. If you're able to stay on top of the bike and do work and recover, you'll be great. It's the folks who shut it down on the climb so you don't want to go too hard, but then have to go easy on the descent. You spend an extra 35, 40 minutes out there, and they're just mentally out of the game. And to get mentally and physically back into the game on the run and a long course race is borderline impossible. So we want to stay engaged in the game. So know your numbers, ride those numbers, eat and drink stochastically, and be really smart about your overall pacing. When we get to the run's warm, but it's not as bad, anywhere near as bad as the bike. The bike really separates the field. And so we apply our same approach here for running, which is being really smart in the first 6 miles. But you're not going to have a great average heart rate number to work off of. So you have to go back to your long runs and take a look at your average heart rate at the beginning of those long runs, first 6 miles of your long runs. Now you're going to give yourself a few extra beats because you'll be coming off the bike and you'll be a little fatigued to be warmer here at the championships. But that said, really know those numbers. So if your long run, first 5 miles at home on a Sunday ends up being 132 or 134 or 139 or 147, whatever it is for you, then know that we want to be in around that number, give you maybe 3-4 beats above at the beginning of this run. Be really smart. Unless for some reason you've got good data coming off the bike, we really have to be smart in those first couple of miles to get our legs back. You should be eating and drinking okay, but you are going to have to get back to the use, to the feeling of persistent work in running, as opposed to the sort of lots of work, no work, lots of work, no work that happened on the bike. And the best way to do that is to ease ourselves in and be really smart. Yes, you should still be eating and drinking, making sure that you have enough fuel in your system over the distance. But those, my friends, are my 3 tips for Nice. I can't wait to hear all about the race. Best of luck to you. If you want to see you on social media, be sure to tag us, like us, and we'll see you soon. Have a great trip.